Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. This is Raj here. Welcome to our morning session. And I just want to share my morning outlook with you. And I'd like to hear from you guys in the chat section what you think about, and we'll take it from there. So let me set up everything so that we can have an interactive session. Okay, so here we are. Just move this a little bit down here so that it's out of the way. Okay, so now what we have here is that stocks are generally hovering above the almost near the usual heights that they have been at, and it seems like we are at a very delicate situation. There are contrary indications out there, and you know me, I have always thought that the market is overextended. I have been short 3 months ago, and I have been into cash almost 3 months ago. So I'm missing a whole lot of gains that are happening right now. But then the market can stay insane for much longer than we can be solvent. So that's what I'm looking at here. Mildly negative S&P 500 and NASDAQ futures is what I'm seeing in the morning. Today, the traders are ramping up expectations for a September federal rate cut, and that is pinning the dollar near multi-week lows. Treasury yields fell further on Wednesday, but are just nudging up a little bit this morning with lighter trading volumes. One of the things about pre-market volumes is that some days there is too much supply, some days there is too much demand. So those prices can be highly volatile in the pre-market session. So we can't read too much into it. Let us see what happens when the market opens. With regard to the global markets, Asian stocks were mixed. Tokyo's Nikkei retreated around 1.3% from record highs as profit-taking set in, while most other major markets were positive. European stock exchanges opened flat to slightly higher, and the volatility still remains a bit low, even though positive as far as the American stock markets are concerned. But if you look at volatility year to date, I think it's looking pretty tame. I'm surprised why it is so tame, but here we are. It's just a little bit in the green today, but overall it's way lower than where it should have been, given all the craziness that we are seeing all around us. Now let's look at the major headlines. So the headlines are suggesting that Wall Street's rally was fueled by cooling inflation in Tuesday's CPI report, but traders now await this morning's PPI, or Producer Price Index, and jobless claims for confirmation of the Fed's easing path. While most investors expect a 25 basis point cut in September, some Fed officials remain cautious given persistent inflation and risk that tariff-driven price pressures could accelerate. If PPI comes in hot, I mean above forecast, what could happen is that there'll be immediate market reaction. Bonds will sell off hard, and that means the treasury yields will spike higher. Stocks will decline, led by rate-sensitive sectors like tech, home builders, real estate investment trusts, and dollar will strengthen significantly. Fed rate cuts bet will evaporate. September cut expectations will diminish, and the key sectors in terms of winner and losers in the event that we get a hot readout is that the losers will be tech, real estate, utilities, and small caps, and the winners are most likely to be banks, which benefit from higher rates, and possibly energy or materials. So that's what I'm looking at. And in the big picture, a hotter than expected PPI would essentially unwind much of the recent market rally that has been built on Fed's easing expectations or rate cut expectations. It signals inflation isn't dead, forcing traders to rethink the entire rate cut narrative that's been driving markets to record highs. So a little bit of volatility. However, in the bottom line, I would say that the market is positioned for benign inflation data, so any upside surprise could trigger significant volatility across asset classes. Hi, Hot Dog. Thanks for joining. So that's what I am thinking is likely to happen if we get a hotter than expected print on the PPI, because the PPI would mean that the producers are now getting the tariff impact. That's where it will first show up before it shows into the consumer prices, in my opinion. Next, I'm looking at shares of home builders like Pulite Group and Lennar, which led Wednesday's advances, surging to an extent at lower rate expectation due to possible rate cut expectations and therefore cheaper mortgages. Now those are likely to be under watch today. That will be the risk area to watch for today. And big tech names including Apple, Amazon, NVDA, they all held firm with near highs this week. A sector optimism that continues despite some weakness that we saw intermittently in NVDA. Again, this morning in pre-market, NVDA is positive. When NVDA is positive, we can expect that it's going to pull up the index because that's how it has been so far. But when I look at the S&P 500 futures and the NASDAQ futures and see red out there, even though it is mild, that could possibly mean that even the strength of NVIDIA is not able to lift the entire indices. So I would be a little bit cautious. Maybe what I was waiting for the last 3 months is probably around the corner. So that's what I'm thinking. I would like to hear from you guys what you think about it. It always helps to have other opinions because at the end of the day, I'm just a retail investor sharing my thoughts out here. And in exchange, I request your feedback. Okay, so then let us look at the flavor of the season, tariffs and the tariff dynamics that are happening. US-China tariff remains a key issue. The trade truce continues, extension continues to support some kind of a bullish sentiment, but there are rumors of possible new sector-specific tariffs, especially in pharmaceuticals. Though there is no concrete evidence of this so far, but there is whispering here and there. Now, friends, I would share with you a dynamic that you do not see in the Western press. So India is moving much closer to China because Trump is pounding India to pressure Russia to come to a deal. At stake, I think, is the rare earth-rich region of Ukraine, which is right now, I think, under the influence of Russia. So Ukraine is not part of this meeting. So I think when you have a truce meeting happening between two countries to solve the issue of a third country, then the third country has to be party. If it is not party to it, then I don't know what's going to happen out there, who is going to buy into it. So that's the situation out there. And in that meeting, Trump wants Putin to be under a lot of stress because his allies who are supporting him directly, indirectly, advertently or inadvertently to feel pressure. So he has put extra sanctions on India. If India buys Russian oil, then the tariffs could go all the way up to 25% more. That will take it to 50%. And in this kind of a dynamic, China also buys more oil from Russia than India, but nothing has been done to China. So the latest development is that Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping of China have got together, and India is going to have trade with China. I think India is going to give oil to China or something. I couldn't read the report completely, but urea trade from China is increased into India. So they've gone into some kind of closeness. So if India and China comes close and they are already buying oil from Russia, and Brazil's Lula is under 50% tariff and he's calling up Modi, then I think the BRICS is intact. And that's the dynamic we have to see going forward. If US starts putting sanctions on everybody, then it's going to weigh in on the US dollar as a reserve currency, because most people would not want to trade in dollar because that would be frozen. So right now, India's oil trade with US is not going through US dollars, it's going through UAE dirhams. So that's out of reach of US in terms of sanctions on Russia. So this dynamic is something that we don't see on the Western press. I wanted to let you know that this is what is happening in the background. And people in Asia and Far East, they have a better understanding of how this happens. I keep on looking at it from time to time, so this is my understanding. And now let's come on to crypto and commodities. Bitcoin broke 123,000 momentarily, hitting another record on institutional inflows and ETF optimism. It has since then given up some gains, but I'm optimistic that it's going to consolidate and then probably move up. We'll do a technical analysis of that separately. Oil prices continue to be steady. Whatever happens with Russia and Ukraine will have an impact on oil prices if things don't go well. Gold is unchanged after the recent tariff-driven rally. It's in a consolidation mode out there. And in terms of corporate earnings and movers, Cisco projected Q1 revenue ahead of estimates, but shares slipped slightly a little bit in early trading. We'll have to see what happens when the market opens. John Deere and Tapestry will report before the market open. They could also have an influence. And Joe Hot Dog says altcoin season begins. Yes, I am seeing a lot of improvement in my XRP. So I think you could be right on that, Hot Dog. Next, going on to key economic events today, 8:30 a.m. U.S. Producer Price Index and weekly jobless claims, both crucial for speculating on Fed's next move, are going to be released. That's going to be a critical catalyst. That's why the stock futures and everything is kind of hovering around neutral to slightly negative or a little bit positive. That's what has been happening for the last half an hour. Now, with that said, friends, I would like to go directly into the charts and start doing some analysis and see what we can find out here. So this chart has to become a one-day chart and we have to recalibrate it. Okay, we are all set. Now for S&P 500, we have a very good support at 6,474.75. The market sentiment for S&P 500 is bearish still. However, as against yesterday, the MACD is now bullish. I'm already seeing greens out there. MACD has crossed over the signal line. It's on the bullish side. Momentum is above average but a little flat. Yesterday the momentum was picking up and MACD was just below the signal line and sentiment was still bearish. I'm seeing an improvement all across gradually. So I'm thinking that there is an intent of S&P 500 to go further up and scale new heights. But everything hinges on the PPI and the job report. So we'll see what happens at that time. Maybe after 8:30 we'll get an idea. Ditto for NASDAQ. You can see MACD has become bullish. Momentum is flat and quite elevated. And MACD and market sentiment is still bearish. Dollar index is slightly firmed up, but overall it is at a low level that it has been for quite a while. And there seems to be, I would like to draw this out and say that there seems to be this line of support which I can see, which would probably help the dollar bounce upwards, but we never know. There's a probability that it will bounce upward on the support. We have the US 10-year yields dropping. We have US 20-year yields dropping and 30-year yields dropping. These are all dropping mainly because of the expectation of Fed rate cut, and that's what is happening here. But if PPI and jobless claims rates give an indication otherwise, you can see this change and get reset. We have a bearish sentiment out here for bonds. So let's look at the indicators and see what's happening out here. S&P 500 is got support today at somewhere around 6,439.78 and a resistance at around 6,512.47. Sentiment is bearish. MACD is bullish. Momentum is above average. Plenty of room on the RSI to be overbought. So hints at a green day, assuming there is no bad news at 8:30 a.m. Then we have NASDAQ. Same story for NASDAQ. Our resistance for NASDAQ is going to be 24,114. Support for NASDAQ is going to be 23,587. And VIX is mildly elevated. It opened up much higher, but it has come down. I'm surprised that the VIX is so placid, despite the fact that there is so many things going on. We have gold, which is kind of consolidating where it was yesterday. It's in a very narrow range of trade. Again, waiting for cues from the economic data. QQQ is showing a modest positive of 0.06% in pre-market trades, and put call ratio is quite bullish. Now let's go on and have a look at our AI stocks. And if you look at NVDA, you can see that it's positive in pre-market trade, not that wildly positive, but it's up 0.21%. The US is negotiating with NVIDIA to resume some AI chip exports to China, and that negotiation has borne fruit, and with a 15% payment of all revenues from such sales to the federal government, China can legally resume the sales without any fear. And there are some tracking components that have been put into these chips so that the shipment to China can be tracked, and China in turn is warning all its companies not to buy these chips, these NVIDIA chips, because it thinks that there may be some kind of programming or something in it which could be adverse. So that dynamic had been pulling down NVIDIA. Maybe if there is any relaxation in that stand by China, then you can see NVIDIA stock coming up. Probably this positive we are seeing here is a speculation to that effect. That's what I'm thinking, but if you have some other ideas, just let me know. We have Meta, which is up 0.02%. The chart is looking pretty strong indeed. So if the employment data comes in right, I think it's got a lot of legs, because this is a bull flag which opened up on the higher side. So it has a longer way to go up. And we have Google, which is up 0.06%, and it has got support at 202.49, and it has got resistance at 207.91. And we have, of all the people, Elon Musk saying that if anyone can make AI work the best, it's going to be Google. So there you go. You have a rare credit coming from Elon Musk for Google's AI, despite Grok being available. Now, if you look at Amazon, I have a little stake in Amazon, which I accumulated again. It's gone up 0.39%. It's looking pretty strong, and it has got a resistance today, which is going to be at around 226.44, at which point I'll be trying to offload the stocks and get back into cash for that portion. Its sentiment is bearish in the market. MACD is tending towards the signal line to cross over, and momentum is above average and picking up. So things are starting to improve for Amazon. The key question is, can it break through this resistance? Next, we have Apple, which is up 0.36%. And I think for Apple, we'll have to see where we can get a resistance. And I think we could probably have a resistance around 241.92, which would be a mild resistance or a minor line of resistance out there. That's why I'm not drawing it. And look at Microsoft, it's up 0.33%, but it has got a resistance at 530.98, and it has got a support at 514.36. Sentiment is bearish, MACD is bearish, momentum is dropping. So I'm thinking that in the pre-market session, there are less sellers and more buyers. That's what is distorting this. So when the market opens, we'll see what happens. Till then, I'm not going to believe this positive. Of course, I have shorted Microsoft, so I'm thinking it's already overstretched. So that's where I'm coming from. Tesla is up 0.58, and it is riding on this diagonal line of support, which is going to show support today at around 337.04. That's the support for today, and the resistance for today is going to be 348.79. That said, we look at Oracle, which is looking good. It's up 0.44% in pre-market trade. However, MACD, momentum, everything is weak. AMD is down 0.89% in pre-market trades, and we had a resistance at 182.06, and the resistance of 182.06 will remain a support today until the market opens, because we are above that right now at 182.73. But if we break down below this, then our next support is going to be at, let me pull this through and say our next support is going to be 172.64. SMCI is up 0.30%. It has got resistance at 46.93. Right now it's at 46.21, and it's a bear flag that is in operation right now, and we have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles. So it is ripe to make a move, in my opinion. We'll see what happens. Broadcom is down 0.25% in pre-market trades. It will definitely get a lot of support at around 302.32. So let me just take this here and plot the line for you. So this is 303.04, sorry. That's where it's going to get a support. Palantir is up 0.29%, very richly valued, but it is starting to consolidate out here. I wouldn't write off Palantir because market sentiment is absolutely bullish. However, we can see cracks appearing because RSI is overbought and it is cooling, and MACD is moving towards the signal line to cross over to the bearish side. So a little bit of trepidation out there. We'll see what happens with that. SMH is down 0.12%. It has got resistance today at 303.69. And yeah, what else? Rigetti Yesterday I took losses and I sold Rigetti at 16.01. I lost my nerve, and then it went on to go ahead and scale new heights. I'm not going to chase this. I'm going to re-enter Rigetti again, but this time I'm going to be very careful and play purely by the technicals, no speculation. I'm determined to make some money out of Rigetti. I'll share that story with you, my friends. With that said, let's go on to genomics and have a quick look at what's happening in genomics. We can see that in case of genomics, Prime is flat in pre-market trades. I have a speculative lot in Prime. I had miscalculated the bull flag. The bull flag was in a different configuration when I entered it, but now I think it's in the right configuration. The stock price is moving in the right directions. In the past, it has had 6 or 7 down candles, and then it had moved up, especially in very quick leaps. The upward movement is very fast. So I'm expecting 2 fast movements, and I would like to sell it somewhere closer to the top here and get out of it and enter it back again once it breaks this line and confirms above it. So that's my strategy for Prime. And again, it's a speculative investment out there, very small amount. Then we have Intelia. Intelia is up 2.82% in pre-market trades, and we had a support at 11.31, and our pre-market trade price is exactly sitting at 11.31. So I'm not going to change this. This will remain the support for today. And in terms of resistance, I think we'll get a resistance out here. This is going to be a minor line of resistance today, and roughly at around 12.28 we'll expect some resistance. So I'm going to mark this as red. And then let's look at Caribou Biosciences, which has got no trades pre-market, but it has made a good move. It's gone above this minor line of support, and if it closes above this today, then this minor line of support will be confirmed, and then we can start building our way upwards. So this was a huge bull flag, and I think once we start moving out of the bull flag top resistance level, then we are starting to look at the next price target. I'll draw it at a later time. Now Beam Therapeutics is up 4.34%. I'm not seeing anything major for oh, wonderful. Let us look at this one. Beam Therapeutics sickle cell treatment gets FDA's Generative Medicines Advanced Therapy designation. Okay, this is dated August 14th. So this is the reason for the 5% increase in the stock price, approximately 5% increase in the stock price, which has converted the resistance we had at 17.44 into a support, because right now we are at 18.28. Good for all the holders of Beam Therapeutics shares. I think the sentiment of the market, which is bearish, is likely to turn bullish by the end of the day, as this kind of consumes a little bit of enthusiasm, provided that the 8:30 a.m. economic data is not a spoiler. And we have MACD, which has started already to improve and move towards the signal line, towards the bullish side. Momentum has also picked up. So let us see how it fares today. Altimmune is up 0.27%. I'm still holding on to it. Let us see what happens with Altimmune. Editas is down 0.97%, and it has got a resistance today at 3.20. Right now it is at 3.05. And next we go on to Illumina. Illumina is down 0.64%, and it will have a resistance today at 103.27. It will have a support today at around 92.94. Overall market sentiment is bearish, and all the indicators are bearish for Illumina. CRSP Therapeutics is up 2.29%, and it's going to get resistance today at 60.13. Right now it's at 58.64. And I think the market sentiment is bearish. MACD is improving, momentum is also improving, showing gradual improvement in sentiment. However, the way I look at it is that's a bearish pennant, and if it breaks out on the upside today, then probably until we move all the way up to the flagpole, we can't write off the bearishness out here, but we'll be less bearish going forward. Next, Allogene is flat in pre-market trades. Grail is up 0.50 in pre-market trades. PACB making a valiant fight back. It's up 3.13% in pre-market trades, and it has got resistance today at around 1.44 and support today at around 1.21, and right now it's at 1.32. Then we look at ARC-G, which is up 0.24%. Minor line of support is going to hold it up at 24.70 today. That's the support level for today. And if you look at Vertex, it's gained 0.27% in pre-morning trade, and we have this bull flag which has got to manifest itself. And if the bull flag breaks above 475.63 today, that will be the first positive sign. Till then, it's going to be resistance. If it breaks out from here and confirms above this the following day, then we have the chance that it's going to reach a price target which will be pretty high and which could probably erase this gap up. I'll draw that at a later date. I don't want to jinx it right now. Ginkgo Bioworks, I have a speculative portion in this, a very small amount, and I'm waiting for it to cross this diagonal line of resistance on the bull flag, and the price target I'm looking at is 19.23. So I'm waiting for this patiently to happen. Pre-market, it has gone down by 1.36%. Yesterday also it opened down and went up. So I'm expecting that, just like in the past, the upward movement is just 2 candles. That's it. The downward movement takes a lot of candles. So I'm expecting that today we might get a green candle, and that has the opportunity of breaking out above this diagonal line. If not, then I'll have to sell and get out of it. So that's what I'm watching for today. Then we have Precision, which again I'm having a holding. I have it at 1.93. I bought 1,000 shares, again a speculative hold, very small hold, and that's going positive. It's at 1.97 today, and it has got a resistance at around 2.03. If it breaks above 2.03, then I think it's got a very good run, because that is a bullish pennant, and I'll have to find out a target for it. I'll do that later. I don't want to jinx it at this point of time. In the meantime, I'm just going to pull this up here just to join it and show the pennant the way it is. That said, I'm also observing Eli Lilly, because Eli Lilly has got back into this regression channel, and today would be the day when I would like to buy Eli Lilly, preferably after the 8:30 a.m. action, when I expect that the market will start reacting. I'm a bit cautious, so I'm going to wait, but at whatever price I buy Eli Lilly today, whether we go into a recession or anything, I'm thinking that it's going to hold value. This is as low as the price as I can buy with as less risk as possible. That's my thought. So I'd like to hear from you guys. Now let me look at the chat section and start responding to our friends out here at the chat. Hi Inf, good morning. Thanks for joining. Hi Hot Dog. Why won't the stock market fall? Yeah, that's what I'm also thinking about, Inf. Why doesn't it fall? But if people knew when it would fall and it fell exactly, there'll be a lot of billionaires out here. We're all trying to game this, and let us see how it goes. I'm extremely cautious. I've never been so cautious before. I've never sat on so much cash before. And I have profits also, which I have realized. So I'm happy and I'm at peace. I'm waiting to see what happens. So I wish you guys all the very best. And unless you have any questions for me or anything to interpret, I think I'd just like to go and have a look at Bitcoin and XRP, and then I would wind this session up. So I'm looking at Bitcoin. Guys, it looks beautiful. Bitcoin looks very beautiful right now. And I'll check out Ether also, Hot Dog. And put your question there in. Let me see. We have a support for Bitcoin at 120,000. And right now we have had this negative out here. Bitcoin mirrors our stock market. So if the economic data doesn't come out well, then the stock market is likely to go down. If the stock market goes down, I'm expecting that Bitcoin will be simpatico, in which case our support at this level of 120 will be tested. So that's what I'm thinking for Bitcoin. But overall, the sentiments are all improving, but sentiments can change on a dime. Now let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum is looking amazing. Now, the way I would look at it is, on a conservative basis, I would say that this is the flagpole. And if I take this as the flagpole and this as the breakout area, so I would look at Ethereum going all the way up to $5,000 as a price target. We are already 75% of the way there. Sentiment is bullish and MACD is bullish. Momentum is pretty good. RSI is overbought, but in the past we have been overbought all the way up to 87.4 on the RSI scale. So I think Ethereum has got a little bit of legs to run and it's catching up. So overall, I think Ethereum is looking good, but the downside risk is always there. Crypto has not yet proved itself to be a store of value at times of risk, and it has shown a lot of correlation with the stock market. So I'll be a bit cautious out here. Hot Dog, I'd like to hear from you what you think. And I want to look at XRP, which is another thing that I have. XRP USD is looking beautiful to me. This is a bull flag, and we are broken out on the upside for the bull flag. So we have a target, and I would say my target, this is my flagpole. So if I take the flagpole and put it out here, my target for XRP is 3.71. That's what I'm looking at, and let's see if we meet that target or not. So that's about all I have, my friends, for you guys today. And yeah, I'll catch up with you again the next session. Okay, Hot Dog is saying ETH outperforming Bitcoin is one sign we'll have alts rise. Yes, it could be the beginning of the altcoin season, money moving out of Bitcoin and going into the alt season. I'm positioned with the XRP. I got a few, I'm going to wait for a while. I got $500 worth of XRP, not too much. So I'm going to hold on to it. And I also have, I think, one or two units of Ripple. You know, these are all leftover from the days when I used to have crypto. 1 or 2 units of Doge. So it's all minor, nothing much major. Yeah, so that's where we are. So friends, thanks for joining me. You make my mornings interesting. Yesterday I had a severe migraine. I couldn't make any videos. It started midway during the live stream, and then I had visual disturbances and heavy headache, and I went to sleep and I slept the whole day. Today I'm feeling much better, and today I have a video on precision, which is going to probably make a huge move. I'm going to explain the case. I have put in money into it. So it will be interesting. The script is ready. I'm going to record as soon as I dial off from the live stream and I have my breakfast. So I'll catch you later, my friends. Thanks and have a great day, and bye for now. Okay, bye guys.